So as we head into day 2 of racing, it's 1-1. One race win apiece. Te Rehotai won the first race of the series by 31 seconds. Luna Rossa bagged the second by 7 seconds. First to 7 wins the America's Cup. Today, the Italians will have port entry for race 3, while the defenders will come in from starboard. The breeze is light. Let's head to the back paddock. Course E for the start.
It's a good, strong position for the Kiwis, but look out for the dirty air, that bad air, that wing wash of Luna Rossa right now. That's one thing that they have to be very careful and mindful of.
They will probably take if they come up, we go up. Okay, no? Good.
Looks like a lead back position by the Kiwis right now, jiving to the inside, still with over a minute to go.
Okay, board just come now.
Well,
Okay, maybe we don't get
speed
too
and do a
slow.
recheck.
We just check.
Yeah, he's two boarding.
Yeah, coming out.
He's one boarding.
Looks like he's close to not getting up to this light.
Yes. Probably he cannot shut.
Looks like the Kiwis are marginally off their foils right now. They got slow in that maneuver.
Really strong position for Luna Rossa here at this point in time. If Emirates Team New Zealand can get it up and going and lay the pin end, could be an even start still.
So he's due on the line, I think.
30 seconds to the start of race 3.
2 boards down, trying to slow up.
Time and distance critical to make the start a perfect one.
Happy to charge here.
Start to push now. Get a match. Positive 2
Good
feet.
separation.
Only just on the pin, but all good.
Good. Down a bit, maybe. Yeah,
Under one
good.
up here. All the way.
We are go. Race 3 of the match in the 36th America's Cup. Clean start by both. Emirates Team New Zealand, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli.
We laid out and let the sailors do the commentary for us, Nathan. It was just 2 boats that were kind of in control, kind of okay with where they were, and a fairly even start. As they approach this first border in that first crossing, remember, Prada will have to give the Team New Zealand the right of way when they tack to port if they get into that zone, if they get into this zone, and you'll see Prada go probably fairly soon.
3, 2, 1, board down.
1. Board. Good. Just cover.
Hold out of this, boys.
So what we'll expect now is Luna Rossa to lure it in front. They're in a leave-out position here. This is the long landing across the other boundary. If Luna Rossa can go a high mode, Team New Zealand might struggle. We saw this several times against Ineos and also against American Magic. Prada having this high, slow mode, squeezing the competitor off.
And a little better tack. Shirley, going out to you on the water, it looked like, again, Luna Rossa was a little better on that tack, and when we're so close, just a few meters makes a huge difference.
Kenny, we're right behind them, and you're absolutely right. Also, Luna Rossa really quickly to get up to pace. I was watching their BMG as well, you know, a knot or 2 higher. And look, just left New Zealand with no choice. Very, very impressive manoeuvring by the Italian team.
If you want to hit him, it now.
Go one there, take the favour, go.
Copy that.
No wider, come out.
So good discussion of Luna Rossa. They're talking about, are they going to tack on him, or are they going to go off into the boundary and minimise attack? They decided to minimise the attack, and clearly they're confident in their boats.
No kidding, and actually that was kind of interesting because you tack on the Kiwi boat in that spot, you shove them right back over to the short side of the racetrack. But yeah, this is confidence in your boat when you just let your guy go like that.
But this comes as no surprise, surely, with the way they operated and got better and better in the Prada Cup, and they've just moved straight into the match with that same confidence.
Yeah, but remember, they tack better. So if you tack better, we think they tack better at this stage. If you tack better on the Italian boat, why not get the other guy tacking more?
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, carrying on from race number 2, and they will lead Emirates Team New Zealand around the mark. But have they let them off the hook?
There will be a split. They obviously did fine on that cross, but there will be a split on this run.
A 10-second lead to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli when they head down on their first downwind leg.
37's a good number.
Emirates Team New Zealand were steaming down, but it will still be in the deficit. They will have to make another jibe to get into that gate area as Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli head towards the downward gate for the first time, and they will round it, leading an Emirates Team New Zealand side that have made ground. It was 10 seconds at the top gate. What will it be at the bottom? Have they found any advantage?
Go aero, boys, when you can.
It's not going to be much, but they're still going to be behind. Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender, 1-all in this series at the moment, has a 13-second deficit. They've lost 3 seconds on the downwind leg. The question that any fan that is maybe new to yachting, Nathan, is where does the magic come from and what do you do?
Well, the magic right now is trying to find a little bit of extra pressure, trying to get a little bit of leverage, a bit of separation from the competition, try and find that little bit of extra speed. And if you can just start closing the distance down, start attacking, force an error from your competitor.
Similar to what they were doing on the downwind leg, right? Splitting the course and finding some pressure.
There's lots of talk about boat speed differences, but it's also got a lot to do with the angles at which they're sailing. I think Team New Zealand probably are going through the water faster, and hopefully after the race we can get a bit of data to show the speed differences. But for me, it's the angles. It's how good Prada are at sailing a high mode. Their tack losses look less with those bigger foils, and they look like they're sailing a little bit slower on average, but the angle they're sailing to the wind is narrower. So they're ending up doing less distance. So in these lighter winds, the bigger foils are working for them right now.
Yeah.
Calm and controlled racing again from Luna Rossa as they round the mark. It was 10 seconds at the first mark, 13 seconds at the second mark. What will it be at the third? 27 seconds behind the challenger. Wow.
So it's actually quite light at the bottom of the course. It's, 8, 9 knots, but they always seem really powered up, and I think the Kiwis less so, bigger angles coming out of manoeuvres, and it's much harder. I think you're right. I've been watching the numbers as we've come down this run, Kenny, and the Kiwis have a bit more. They have a bit more depth for sure.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli complete the fourth leg. They're on their penultimate leg now, heading on the upwind. It was 27 seconds at the top. What will it be here? Well, as we sort of suspect, a little bit more downwind speed from Emirates Team New Zealand, but it's still 22 seconds and there's a long way to go.
We've been watching Emirates Team New Zealand around. They haven't made any mistakes. The crew work on board looks slick. The manoeuvres are good, but to me it just doesn't look like their boat's motored correctly for this lighter wind.
Strong, confident, and smooth.
Okay, all yours.
One leg to go for the challenger of record. 22 seconds it was at the end of leg number 4. What will it be at the leg number 5? Emirates Team New Zealand now finally getting to the gate. And the margin has strung out just a little bit more in favour of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli at 38 seconds.
It feels like reasonable pressure here at the moment. Yeah, I think we've got to go boundary here. Yeah.
This is all about development. If you remember back to December, these guys were quite a bit off the pace, but remember, they didn't have their final set of foils on. They've done a lot of aerodynamic changes to this boat. I bet you they've changed the rudder, they've changed the way they sail the boat, new sets of sails. Max Serena said it's all about upgrades.
We might be seeing a pivotal moment in the America's Cup match on the Hauraki Gulf, because Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli has just won another race. They go ahead 2-1 in the match against the defender, and you can bet those fans of Luna Rossa are pretty happy about that. Francesco, they say winning is a habit, and early in the match, you've won the last 2. This must feel good. What did you guys do so well today in this first race of the day?
I think we just sail a clean race. We had our plan. and we executed well on the start. And from there on, we had the opportunity to make them pay that left boundary, and we did it.
On board Emirates Team New Zealand with Peter Burling. What did you make of the team's performance in that race?
Yeah, well, we're, I think, definitely pretty happy with the performance. Something, obviously, it's nice to come away with a win, but, we thought we did not a bad job off the line. We kind of changed to wanting the leeward position during that pre-start, but then, they obviously got a little bit too much gauge to the right, so they could get a nice leeward attack, and then they did a pretty nice job for there, and we really found it hard to get any shifts to get into it. We had to do a couple of extra manoeuvres on both the first run and that first beat, which really put us a little bit too far behind to catch up.
So a bad day in the office for Emirates Team New Zealand. They drop a point to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, who led from go to woe. It was a commanding victory. Can they maintain the momentum? We'll be back with race 4 after the break. So the light winds are working in Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli's favour. They've broken the deadlock and extended their lead. Do they have a slight edge? Well, the Kiwis are an America's Cup superpower. This series is far from over. Let's head to the back paddock for race 4. Emirates Team New Zealand has port entry. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli has starboard.
3, 2,
In comes
1.
Emirates Team New Zealand, first entry for race 4 of the match. And just on their tail will be Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli in starboard.
The job here, we check around, I think.
Recorder, good jump.
Can't make it.
I don't know if he's jumping. Okay, he's not jumping.
Slow down or up? Where is it? Hold it.
Yeah.
You're coming hard up, please.
Side.
Coming hard up now.
2, 1, lower down.
All right, keep straight. Josh, you got this board?
Kind of setting up in similar positions to the last start right now. Both of them with similar size jibs and similar size sail packages right now. But the Kiwis are dangerously close to being off their foils, but they seem to be able to pop up pretty easily from this spot.
Not too low, I think. Okay, good. You can see them, I think. Can you see them?
He's up again.
It's not foiling. They could be coming in here for a hook. They're going on the attack here. Jimmy Spittle on the attack.
You better be sure you can attack from here if you're going to get yourself down in this spot, though.
Yeah.
Speed.
Angle there.
Can't make sense.
Down 5, 1 board.
Toss on the line.
New Zealand pretty early once again.
Maybe you can go above for me. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. You can come down here.
Both going to reach down the line.
Get a good charge in.
Charging. Not lower, not lower.
He's happy about that.
Start race 4 of the America's Cup match. Nervous start for Emirates Team New Zealand, but they are away.
But much tighter. This is very different from the last start. Prada started much closer to the hip of the Kiwis. The Kiwis should be able to fend them off this time around.
Put down.
Yep. There you go, Luna Rossa attacking straight. Peter Burling said he was happy with his first start, but they gave too much gap. Tight to leeward is strong, and wide and right is strong. And this time, Emirates Team New Zealand win the starting battle.
And the transition here. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Port down.
Well, definitely up and down a little bit more than we saw before, and on the other coast of Auckland, the wind's in the other direction, so potentially something could happen. It's definitely way more unstable. Lighter patches down to 6, 7 knots now.
Here comes the key moment. Stephen?
15 seconds. Keep comms up. Yeah.
Starboard tack boat, Luna Rossa has right away at the top of the screen.
5 away.
Have we potentially seen our first pass? I'm not so sure.
Where has he got him there?
He's rebounding.
Copy. It's still trying to dribble, guys. It's really wide here.
1, 4, 2.
2.
Port
down.
Eat that. Carrying on. Yeah. 9.
An attacking duel begins.
Who thought? Who would have thought?
5.
Happy boundary tack, eh?
He's going all the way to boundary.
Lovely. Numbers just dropping, people all good, still over.
Yeah, he
He
tacked
hit
there.
one with big gain, but
I think.
it looks like it left those.
Looks like a little bit of power
You can hear them talking about better pressure on the left right now.
on the other side of the court.
That looked like the cleanest tack we've seen them do yet. That was really interesting, and maybe even a higher flight ride. So
Yeah, real nice.
they're always trying something. That's what it sounds like to me, that they're still trying to figure this out.
What do you reckon?
Quite far inboard on the sheet.
I'm going to face up from left though. Yeah, copy. Yeah, great.
Yeah, a little bit lighter over to the right here.
Transition. 3. A little bit out. Yeah. 1.
Heading towards the top mark for the first time in a race 4 of the match between Emirates Team New Zealand and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. It's tight already at the top mark. Who will get around first? You're about to find out. It's mere seconds. And it will be Emirates Team New Zealand leading for the first time in 2 races. And around the top mark they go for the first time. It won't be a huge gap. And they head down on leg number 2. Not much at all. 9 seconds.
It's definitely the closest race we've had so far of the match. 50 metres downwind. We're used to seeing more like 150 metres. So see how much a jibe loss is here. Luna Rossa just jibing now. It's going to go from 50 just over to 100. That shows you how much distance they're getting lost in manoeuvres.
Sigh of relief for Emirates Team New Zealand at this particular point, but you just know in this match, in these AC75s, it can be a one-mistake race, but around they go. Emirates Team New Zealand with the lead in race number 4 and getting around gate number 2 to head up on the upwind leg for the 3rd.
Slow jibe there by Luna Rossa, almost off the foils down to 18, 19 knots. Doesn't even look like they may make this mark. If they do, it's going to be barely, probably with both boards down.
Turning up. 3, 2, 1, turning.
And that's a big gap, and we're not even halfway through this race.
Yeah,
It's 34 seconds. One mistake.
That's probably the first error we've seen by either team in the last 2 days, that bad jibe there by Prada, and it's effectively let what was a pretty close race into now quite a large lead. And if you make a mistake like that, you're now just waiting for the other team to make the mistake.
Oh, it's tough, isn't it? I mean, it was interesting between the races. The brains trust on the Kiwi boat spent the entire time together just thinking about what they can do, and for sure they would have felt the pressure. And wow, they came out and won that start. So I think you have to keep it together. It's been a long time since we've seen such an error in manoeuvring. We've kind of got used to it all just happening, you know, at 100%, but tough now for the Italians really to come back into this.
It's a healthy lead as they complete the halfway stage of this race. Leg 3 of 6 done.
You could hear the guys chatting on board. The breeze is dropping a bit. That means that the manoeuvres are getting harder and harder to pull off. Pretty nice jibe there by Emirates Team. They're going to lay the bottom gate here. Prada's still got another jibe to go.
Pretty nice angle for it. That will round up, go for a little bit. Yep, there.
Big lead in race 4 of the match in the America's Cup out on the Hauraki Gulf. And it's the defender Emirates Team New Zealand who need this win to level the match up. And they will go into gate number 4 comfortably ahead. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli now approaching the end of leg number 4, and the lead somewhat has blown out in favour of Emirates Team New Zealand. Board issues on that 3rd leg has really cost them, and it's a 48-second gap now to the lead.
And the Kiwis are stretching, and remember, I don't think we've seen this boat lose a light air race in a long time. Even when they made a couple mistakes against the Brits, they got past. They got themselves back in the race, and actually that was the last time we ever saw a pass.
2, 1.
They'll head into the top gate for the last time and then head on the downwind leg. And there will be sighs of relief, I can imagine, too. Because they've sailed like Luna Rossa in the first race. They've sailed a good race.
A couple key moments here, Nathan. That start, and then then what was a close race got pretty far apart. with that one botched jibe down at the bottom at that set gate number 2, first leeward mark.
Well, if you thought that the Luna Rossa win by 37 seconds was a statement win or a pivotal moment in this America's Cup match, maybe we need to rethink that, because the gap is such now that this is going to be a very encouraging win by Emirates Team New Zealand. 58 seconds. They've pulled another 10 seconds out of that leg, that upwind leg.
Boundary. 3, 2, 1. Coming down.
They are back in the groove, baby, and they are going to lock up this match. They will win race 4 of the 36th America's Cup, and we have got a tied ball game, as they say. Scorecard now, Emirates Team New Zealand 2, Luna Rossa 2. Let's head to Emirates Team New Zealand. Flight controller Blair Chew going to have a chat with us. Well, that must feel better, Blair. A confident, a near flawless performance by Emirates.
Yeah, that was a really good race for us. Just got off the start line slightly better than the race before. Very similar positionings, but we just managed to get the jump on them before the boundary, and boat's going really well, and yeah, managed to extend nicely.
Hey Blair, congrats on the win. 2-all must be a good feeling after today. We had some really good camera angles over your boat as you're going downwind with some cool technology in that boat. You know, cameras looking at foils, controllers everywhere. Can you give us some insight on the kind of technology that's inside your boat?
Spill it. What he's trying to say is spill it. Come on, we need some dirt. Let's go.
It looks great.
It sounds like you already got it all from the camera angle, so not much point me passing too much on. But no, yeah, I can peep, but I haven't got much longer. Yeah, no,
that's all good, mate. We got to keep moving. Congratulations. And
he was just about to give us all the dirt.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't going to tell us the secrets.
I will try again later.
Blair, thanks for your time, mate. We've got to get some words from Jimmy Spittle on Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. I heard you coming across the line, Jimmy. Bad luck, but not a bad day. 1-0. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, no, we won one scoreline. Great racing from both teams. Full credit to the Kiwis. They did a nice job in that race. Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow.
So, low wind, high pressure. Day 2 comes to an end and the fight for superiority continues. Who will break the deadlock? Who knows? The high-octane, high-speed, high-stakes action continues tomorrow. The America's Cup is still anyone's cup.